In this day and age, are we really happy? I think that science has brought us a lot of new conveniences and a lot of ways of making us feel that we might be happy, and makes us feel like we have knowledge. But has it made us feel like we have peace in our heart? Has it made us feel as though we're moving to a place where we feel a sense of bliss inside, instead of feeling there's so many things to do that we need to be running like a crazy person all the time? I think that science is great. There's no doubt about it. Science is wonderful. But I also think that we've discontinued ourselves and disconnected ourselves from nature in general. And we long for that. You know, we're the only ones in the whole world that don't use all of our brain. Our brain here runs everything. At the same time, we only use 10 to 15% of our brain. Wow. The rest of all the beings on this planet use 100% of their brain. I think that's very interesting, that for some reason we are not using all of our brain. I think that we are overwhelmed with stress. I think we have this sympathetic nervous system going on, which makes the adrenalines and the cortisols move throughout our body. And we used to work that. When the saber-toothed lion ran after us, we would use that to climb a tree and get away, or get the bow and arrow and be able to shoot the animal. But now, it's the boss, the taxes, it's everything in life that keeps us in this hyper state. And the parasympathetic nervous system, which is supposed to bring us down, doesn't know how to do that anymore. There are drugs to help the sympathetic nervous system come down, but there are no drugs to bring up the parasympathetic to bring us down. So there is only one way to do that, and that's through a process of learning to take some time for yourself, to learn to do yoga, or learn to do qigong, or learn meditation. Meditation has some very important aspects that are different from some of the other things also, because it starts to allow you to use the rest of your brain. You get the prefrontal cortex in the front here. We find that with prisoners, there's lacking of that on PET scans. They do not use that area. And so the more you use meditation to build your brain, the more you have continuity of all the areas of your brain working together. Because most of the time we just have one little area in our brain firing, and then another area, and another area, and another area. And that's kind of like a scattered approach to thinking. Whereas when you do meditation, everything is cohesively working together to bring about cohesive thought. And also it brings about a place in our hearts, a feeling of contentment and bliss, and all that stress kind of disappears. I think it's important that we learn to be more of the feminine in each one of us, to understand that the divine feminine is there inside of us. It was interesting, there was a study done in Africa. There was a troop of baboons, and the baboons have type A personality alpha males, and these type A personality alpha males would take and treat the females and the youngsters terribly, and beat on them and beat them up, do all kinds of different things to keep them from being unstressed. And they would take a group of people, came in and they started doing blood work on these baboons, and we would find that the alpha males had very low adrenaline and cortisol in their blood, and the females and the young adults were very stressed out and had high cortisol and adrenaline. So I think it's really important that we understand that we have to be more like the feminine energy. It's interesting also that this particular baboon group they started going to eat at a big dump, and only the alpha males were allowed to eat first. So for some reason there was tuberculosis there, and they all came down with tuberculosis, and only the alpha males died. And then the females took over, and the stress in all of these females and then the young adults kind of like disappeared. The cortisols and adrenaline weren't even there. Didn't show up hardly at all. And because they were a cohesive group and they decided that we were going to keep it this way, any young males that wanted to come in and join the group, in order to be accepted into that group, they had to decide to work a different way. They had to decide to work a way that worked for them in the group. So they had to give up their old alpha male ways of working and work according to the females of being loving and caring. And so everything changed in this group of baboons. And it continues to change and be that way from the point that when the type A alpha baboons died. So we can change also. All of us in this world can change. We can be different. We can decide at this point in this evolution of this planet that we can be loving and caring. And we want all people to be loving and caring, and we want them to be accepted into our group in life, and we love them no matter what. But they have to conform to being loving and caring. If you're not loving and caring, we're not going to allow you to, take over the world and cause havoc and cause stress in everyone. I think that's the way we need to move, the way we need to change, the way we need to evolve as human beings. The whole planet can move to that place. There is this torus effect, this magnetic pole movement throughout our whole body. And it moves from our feet up through our head and out and around. And that magnetic effect is the same way it works on the whole world and also in the whole universe. Everything works on this torus field effect. And we are part of that infinite structure, which is, some people might call it God, some people call it the nirvana, some people call it heaven, other people would call it the field. But we are part of that. And when we understand that we have the power inside of us, and when we start developing this mind in a positive way, start using that 100% of it, everything's going to be different. Everything will be different in a totally different way. You can do it. I know you can. I love you.